And we are live. Hi, everybody. Uh, Due to popular demand, I've decided to spend today showing off some Kitsune and Fox merchandise I've collected over the years. Just a small part of my collection here. Uh, Although, if you'd like to hear more, please go ahead and just say so. And I could do more of those videos instead of opening magic cards on camera. Not that I won't use this as an excuse to go ahead and buy more collectibles. Before I do, though, I thought I'd just have a little bit of a conversation. I've had a lot of people ask before, why Kitsune? Where did you get the screen name Kitsune Warlock? What's all this about? Um, well, Actually, really started in judo. I met my godfather at a dojo. There was a card shop next door, and he got me involved in Bushido Blade, old PlayStation game, which really got me into like Naginata, Shrine Maiden, stuff like that. I'm like, oh wow, that's so cool. I want to learn more. Meanwhile, the card shop had a game called Legend of the Five Rings, which you might see some booster packs for over there. Uh, Games not in print anymore in any form, had some problematic-ish elements, but at the time, I just thought, wow, this is really cool. I want to learn more about the philosophies that inspired this game world and everything involved with it. In addition, I just really, really loved all the martial techniques and weapons and whatnot. In particular, there was one card here called Ryosei, the champion of the Fox clan, who I thought had a Naginata. Turns out it was a shorter hafted weapon, the Nagamaki. But I always liked the card art. I liked the cool flavor text. I will never take your name. And I wanted to learn more about this. What's the Fox clan? What's their whole deal? And they have this whole thing with Kitsune. And I'm like, what's a Kitsune? Fast forward to the AOL days, I had a username with a bunch of numbers at the end of it. Felt silly, tried to find a better username, and remembered my favorite Super Nintendo game, Warlock. Idea what a warlock at the time was. I kind of almost thought it was somebody who prevented war or something. Um, but I liked the sound, so I went Kitsune Warlock, and I like using the same name that I've used for years because if you Google it, you will find pretty much exclusively me. Now to onto a little less self-indulgence here. Well, still a bit though. So this picture I got here from Amanda Plagman in Savannah when I left for Seattle and Kent and Washington and all that. Really great gesture. Absolutely love it. Keep it here above my desk. Look at it quite often. Um, just a little needlepoint fox there. Uh, this is a pin set that Eleanor Farron pointed out on the Arcane Mark Discord, and I've been meaning to open it, wanted to kind of save it for a stream. I do like my Kitsune pins. They're always fun to put on a lanyard, especially useful if you play a Kitsune. You could wear the pin when you're in fox form, take off the pin when you're in human form, kind of inform the GM without telling the entire table, everybody stop, I'm transforming. But there are lots of other ways of doing that too. Oh wow, so this is really nice. So we got ourselves here a pin from Floral Frolic, storyofthedore.etsy.com. I'll leave it up there for a little while so you could see the URL if you want one yourself. Has a little bell that rings around the neck. Absolutely love it. Absolutely to die for. Also came with a snazzy postcard, I suppose you'd call it, and bookmark. So that's really nice, and I'm really glad I got it, and we'll add it to my pin collection. Oop. In addition, this playmat here is from Star City Games Creature Collection. I believe they have a somewhere between 10 and 25% off sale on these kind of things. And $5 for a playmat is that's just such a good deal. I couldn't resist. Even bought a bunch of their sleeves for like $3 each, using it for my squirrel deck, which I know doesn't make too much sense, but I can't find a good squirrel character that they make sleeves of that I actually want to use to sleeve up my Squirrel Commander deck, so I'll be using that. Next, I'll go ahead and show you this here. This little playset of a Shinto shrine. I've posted this on Arcane Mark and showed her off on No Direction. It was only like $3, which is great for something that it could work fairly well for Pathfinder size minis, especially if you want to run the repeatable Kitsune Season 1 scenario, Lost on the Spirit Road. Just a fantastic little set. If shipping wasn't an issue, like if I was in San Francisco where they make these, I would totally buy like 10 of these just to get the Tori, just so I could have some nice 3D terrain in any kind of a Inari Fushimi Taisha inspired adventure or what have you. They're just made out of rubber. They're actually called eraser sets. Like I said, if you want the URL where you could buy these, I think after shipping this was like $5, which good luck getting terrain for that cheap. And they have a few other sets on their site, but honestly, this one was by far the best looking one for the size that it comes in. Got myself my standard Kitsune mask. Everyone needs a Kitsune mask. I think this was like $2 at Frankenson's Collectible Show, which, if you were in Southern California near City of Industry, check out Frankenson's. It's like a convention booth. Like it's like a convention showroom with all the different booths. 2 times a week, every week. It's fantastic. They have every kind of collectible you can imagine. Since I was asked about it earlier, this sweater here was a birthday gift this year from my mother. Absolutely love it. Once your parents learn that you like any kind of an animal, you will get unlimited gifts displaying that animal, which is always thoughtful and sweet and nice. One such gift, as long as I'm talking about it, I do love stuffed animals. This one in particular was a gift from a role player. I role played a familiar of their character actually for quite some time, and they sent me this little Kokoro plushie, little Arctic fox, slightly resembling the character I played for a while. Um, believe yes, her online handle was Paxinarian or Maggie Samuels. She's one of my friends here on Facebook, so maybe she'll see this. Don't know. Uh, as long as I'll take a little quick break from showing off all this Kitsune merchandise just to go ahead and remind everyone that Bestiary 3 is out. I love this Bestiary. There's over like 8 fox and or Kitsune inspired creatures in it, including legends about the Adlet and their Kitsune relations, the Kitsune itself, a celestial fox guardian, the Volpino Legathion as the fox's cunning ability, all these really, really cool things. And I have just posted an article on No Direction that has updated the first half of my summon decks. So if you use summoned monsters, there's a lot of really cool stuff in here that will really, really help flesh out all the remaining levels that just didn't have anything worth summoning, or worse yet, had absolutely nothing, especially since that errata hit. It looks like they made up for the monsters they removed by adding in some arguably better monsters instead. So if you miss your Drainberry bushes and your Coldawine, check out my article. I have listed all the Bestiary 3 monsters and have updated my old links so you can see their comparison with the scores that I gave the Bestiary 1 and Bestiary 2 monsters. All right. In other news, I'm going to go ahead and shout out something that I shouted out on No Direction but didn't have the book next to me to show everybody. So this is the Art of Language invention. It is I've just started cracking it open. Fabulous read. It's if you ever I want to make my own fantasy language, I can't not recommend this. Goes over everything from mouth physiology to historical language development and how to apply that to fantasy language creation. It was written by the person who did it was written by the author who did the Dothraki language in Game of Thrones, and his career is defined by making fantasy languages for games, television shows, you name it, which apparently is a industry I wish I had known about earlier, because that's really cool. Really, really, really cool. My final thing here, I have a number of Kitsune merch that I use to fill out my PFS bin, the little shoebox I bring with me whenever I play Pathfinder Society or any role-playing game for that matter. And I would love to just have an episode showing off everything that I have in there, where to get it, where I got it, what I use it for. But that sounds like content that would be better for No Direction, honestly. But I do want to show off one thing. For years, I have wanted a fan with a Kitsune on it. I love, love, love collapsible fans for. They're great for pointing at people menacingly at the table. They're great as using as a prop if you want to show how you're holding your sword or shoot your bow or whatever. It just makes an absolutely great prop without taking up any space in your shoebox or what have you, or backpack or anything like that. In addition, you could always just use it to fan it off if you have a card shop like many that has less than adequate ventilation and far too many people for that less than adequate ventilation. This one in particular, though, I finally did find it. A fan with a kitsune on it, not just a fox, definitely a kitsune. Found this at Fushimi Inari Taisha in Kyoto. Uh, I'm not sure where, if anywhere, you could get it online. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. I find that looking up Fushimi Inari or Inari could find you a lot more kitsune stuff than just looking up kitsune. Sometimes fox, but then you get into like other like fox. You get a lot of fox terrier stuff when you look up fox. I actually have a registered, saved eBay search for Kitsune merchandise in particular when I find good deals on it or when it's something that really strikes my fancy that I'd be glad to share. But you just gotta over time. You gotta be like minus Mario, minus Mason, minus things you already have, minus Crypt Kitties. And you'll find your stuff, and that goes for whether you're into kitsune or alpaca or dragons or whatever it is that floats your boat. One thing that really did get me into the tabletop hobby was people kind of finding these little themes. I still remember one of the first decks that impressed me in Magic the Gathering was just a cat deck, and this was back in 5th edition when cats were not a tribe. They were not a deck people played. There were only like 10 cat creatures in all of Magic, and most of them were forgettable. But this person he liked cats, so he put together a deck of nothing but cats. I mean, he even played Fountain of Youth, which has nothing to do with cats other than if you look carefully, oh, one of the statues on the side of the fountain's a cat, so he's going to include it. And it wasn't competitive. It didn't win a lot of games, but God bless it. I remember him. I remember the deck. And that alone accounts for something. I mean, a big reason why people want to play games is to create stories and memories, not just to win at all costs. Not that you can't create a fun story while winning, but that's kind of the optimal goal, right? Find that awesome middle ground between min-maxing and role playing, so to speak, or however you want to put that. Expressing your true Spike, your true Johnny, and your true Vorthos all at the same time. And it is a struggle sometimes, especially when you're not sure what the power level of the place you're going to play at is going to be. It's why I never go to a shop advertising Commander with only one deck. Gotta go with 4 or 5 just to ask around, hey, what's the power level here compared to a pre-constructed deck? Same goes for Pathfinder. I have characters who I have brought to Pathfinder Society games that have actually been derisively mocked for not being powerful enough. Like, I didn't contribute anything to the encounters. I rolled my initiative, and by the time it was my turn, maybe spent one turn preparing for the next turn, and then by the time I was ready to actually roll a d20, the combat was over. Other times, exact opposite. My character is the only one contributing to combat. I'm downing every enemy. I'm definitely the protagonist, and that feels just as awkward. It's really important that gaming groups, whether it's a card game, a role playing game, or even a video game, adjust to the average mean of everybody, and then just try to have fun. I mean, even when you're playing a Game Boy game like Pokemon, hey, as long as I have it. Here's another Kitsune plush. Vulpixes make great Kitsune plush. You got your 6 tails. Yeah. But even when you're playing Pokemon, I mean, everybody knows the Game Boy game is kind of easy mode. There's a few problem areas that are a little difficult, but if you raise everybody's level to their cap and only train 2 or 3 Pokemon, you will dominate at that game. So people have made little rules for themselves, like Nuzlocke. If a Pokemon dies, you have to delete it, or always train everything you catch and catch every new species you find and try to keep them all at an even level. Like, that's really hard. Or even, only use unevolved, trashy Pokemon or whatever. And it games are about overcoming challenges, even if they're challenges you have to make for yourself. Nobody wants to just press a button and have "I win" pop across the screen. It's not any fun. But I think I've gone a little too far into game theory here. Incidentally, if somebody does want me to just sit here talking about kind of game theory and stories like that, again, go ahead and tell me. I would love to. Maybe I should even get a Discord and a Twitch channel and go for it. But I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, I have tons more Fox merchandise I could show off, but I do have to prepare for a raid tonight, my or Alex is going to get upset that I didn't bring enough feasts for everyone. I did hit 5 million gold in World of Warcraft recently. That's always fun, stocking the auction house like that. And I'm going to have some fun tonight just decompressing by trying to kill heroic Zymaz. Thank you, everybody who watched this and sat through all this up until now. Had a wonderful time. Still trying to get rid of all these annoying ums and ahs as I practice on the camera. Watch myself afterwards, and figure out what I could do to become a better co-host for shows like No Direction, or maybe even someday Paizo Live. I don't know. Not sure when they'll get a developer job open, but when they do, I'll definitely be applying. Well, with that all being said, thank you very much for sticking around. Have yourself an awesome day, and I'm always open to talk on Discord. Bye, everyone.